Hey guys, so for today's video, I was just kind of messing around and wanted to see how Cateye gel would work with blooming gel. So I'm just going in and applying a layer of the black from Ball Pit on all of the nails. I think I did 2 coats of this actually. And I cured each coat for 60 seconds. So, like I said, I was just kind of messing around with this set. I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't have any motivation when filming this, and I really didn't have any ideas, so I just kind of like looked at the stuff that I had and I don't know, I saw the blooming gel and then I had a Cateye polish sitting next to it and I was like, I wonder how well Cateye polish works with blooming gel. I haven't seen anyone use Cateye polish with blooming gel, so I mean, I'm sure there's probably someone out there that has done it, but I just haven't seen it, so I wanted to try out and see because while most polishes work with blooming gel, I have noticed that not all polishes work with blooming gel. I've tried doing like using gel paints or like liner gels with blooming gel before, and because the gel paint or liner gel is so thick, it doesn't really bloom very well. Like, it does bloom out a little bit, but it doesn't bloom as well as like a regular gel polish does. I've never tried using a glitter polish with blooming gel now that I think about it. I've also never seen anyone use a glitter polish with blooming gel either. So I wonder how that would work. Maybe if it's like one of the thinner types of glitter polishes. Sometimes glitter polishes can be super thick depending on how much glitter is in the polish. So I feel like maybe a thinner glitter polish would work, but also with the glitter, like I don't know how well that would look with the blooming gel. And that's what I was thinking with the Cateye too. I'm like, I mean, overall, I think it would look alright, but also with like the magnet pieces and like the shiny bits that are in a Cateye polish, like I don't know how well that would look or how well it would translate if you were to do a blooming gel type of design with it. So I don't know, I was just like, let me test this out and see what would happen, if it would even work, and like if it would look good. So that's kind of the whole point of this video. It really didn't take me long. Like I said, I had no motivation doing this. I just needed something quick and easy to do, or well, I wanted something quick and easy to do, so this is what I ultimately ended up deciding to do. After I got the black on, I'm going to use my blooming gel from Born Pretty, and I'm going to use this green Cateye called Haunted Mist from Ball Pit, and I'm just taking the blooming gel, applying that to the nail. I think when I did the pinky nail, like right before I did the pinky nail, I had gotten up to go do something, and then I came back and I didn't hit record when I did it, so you don't get to see me do the pinky nail, but you get to see me do the rest of them, and it's basically the same thing on all of them. But anyhow, I just applied the blooming gel to the nail, and before curing it, I take my dotting tool and just dot on some random dots of the Cateye gel, and as you can see, it is starting to bloom out a little bit. So it does bloom and it does work, but I was noticing it doesn't bloom out as much as like a regular cream gel polish. Ooh, speaking of, now I'm like I want to try a bunch of other different types of polishes. I was just thinking, because I said a cream gel polish, I'm like, what would this look like with a jelly gel polish? But anyhow, so it's not blooming as much as like a normal cream opaque gel polish does. It does bloom out a bit, but it's not like as much. You know, when you do something like this with a normal cream gel polish and it's like the dots like kind of merge into each other without like they don't merge into each other, but they like get so close, but there's still that little space, and they kind of get to be different shapes and not like perfect circles like how you dotted them on. I was noticing with the Cateye gel, like it bloomed out a little bit, but it didn't bloom out as much, and it stayed in that like perfect circle shape. And even with like doing the Cateye magnet and everything and letting it sit there, like it didn't bloom out nearly as much as I thought it would have bloomed out. And with the more you put on the nail, like the less they are gonna bloom out. So like more packed in dots, they don't bloom out as much as like fewer dots that you would put on. So maybe that was also part of it. But also, like I said, they were still being in that nice little circle, and they weren't like spreading into each other, and like, you know, one side wasn't like getting flatter or anything like that. You know, they kind of get weird and wonky shapes sometimes when you have this many dots next to each other, because they're trying to push into each other and like spread, but they can't because they're like pushing against each other, you know, if that makes sense. So they just weren't, it was working, like I said, but it just wasn't blooming as much as I was kind of thinking it was going to. And even with using regular cream polishes, like when you spread them out, even if you don't spread them out a whole lot, but especially when you spread them out a whole lot, you can see like the outer rings and how they get lighter, and it's almost kind of like an aura effect if you were to just do a dot, and like the middle is pretty concentrated with color, and as it spreads out it gets thinner and thinner. You didn't see that with this Cateye polish, so I thought that was really interesting as well. And then after I magnetized them, I did go ahead and put them in my lamp to cure them real quick. And then after I got all the nails done, I did do a final 60-second cure to make sure that everything was completely cured. But as you can tell, like watching this, all of this is in like real time. I didn't speed it up or anything, so you can like see right here before your eyes like how much the polish is spreading and how it just kind of stops at a point. And I mean, technically when you do it with a regular cream polish, it does stop spreading at some point, but I feel like with the Cateye polish, it stopped spreading way before the point that it stops spreading when you use a regular cream polish. But also, I mean, it might also be because I used a black background and like I'm using the Cateye polish, and so I can't really, as it spreads out and gets thin around the edges, like you can't really see those thinner parts maybe. But also I feel like maybe the like Cateye particles would be in that thinner part too, so it's not like the entire nail is being magnetized either. It's just those little dots that I did. So I don't know, this was just a really interesting kind of experiment that I did here to try and see like how this would work. And like I said, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. It wasn't reacting the same way as it would with normal polish, but it also still gave a really cool effect, like having these different Cateye dots here. I feel like this would look really cool if you were to do like croc print or like snake print or something like that. That would give a really cool effect there as well. And I mean, even just doing these dots, just like the basic, you know, blooming dot design, it still looked really cool and different. I might have to do this experiment again, but with glitter polish, to see how that would work out. And I might try a couple different types of glitter polishes, because I do have several different types of glitter polishes. Like I have reflective glitters, I have like those foil type glitter polishes, and just like regular glitter polish. So I don't know, maybe I will try this again just to see like what happens. Because like I said, I've never seen anyone else do this, and was just curious on what it would look like. I will say, even though I wasn't like motivated to do this video at all, once I started doing this, it was like really kind of interesting to sit here and watch like these dots bloom out and see how the Cateye gel reacted to the blooming gel itself. So it ended up being kind of fun to do. And yeah, I just feel like now knowing this, like there's a lot of different things that I kind of want to test out and try. Like I said, I want to try doing glitter. I do kind of want to try doing a jelly polish even. And here I was letting it sit for a lot longer than the other ones to see if it would spread out even more. But like I said, it got to a point where it just stopped spreading, and I felt like it should have kept spreading because it would have with a regular polish. But like I said, I don't know, the Cateye gel polish just reacts differently. Just like, you know, I said the gel paints and liner gels also reacted differently, and they didn't really spread as much, which, I mean, thinking about it, that makes sense for those because they are a lot thicker and they're really not meant to spread like that. Like that's why they are created so thick, so when you do your nail art and do your lines and stuff, they're not spreading all over and they're staying in place. So it makes sense for those to not spread as much, but I don't know. I was expecting a little more spread with the Cateye polish, but also I wasn't really expecting anything with the Cateye polish, if that makes any sense. Like, I felt like it was either going to work or it wasn't, and like it did work, but it also didn't work in the way that I thought it maybe would have worked. But anyhow, after I got all of that cured on, I just took my shiny top coat from LGN and applied that to all of the nails. And after I got that applied, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. This also would have looked really cool being matte. Cateye looks really cool matte. You wouldn't think it would because it is kind of like shimmery and sparkly and like glitter polish. Some glitter polishes look alright being matte, but most glitter polishes, they just kind of dull out and look really flat, and it just doesn't look nice to have matte glitter polish. But Cateye polish, even though it is shimmery and glittery, it does look really nice when it's matte. So I feel like this set would also look really cool being matte. Just because, like I said, Cateye polish does tend to look pretty neat when it's matte top coated. But it also looks really nice when it's shiny top coated. And this is the finished result. And you, like I said, you can tell that it did spread out, but it didn't spread out as much as I thought it would. But overall, I think it came out really cool, and like there's a whole bunch of possibilities here with this. I feel like I said, I think something like this would look really cool with, like, if you did like the snake print or the croc print or whatever. I don't know if it's just because I used the green polish here, and it automatically makes me think of like, you know, reptiles and whatever. But I do think doing like a cat eye and doing like the croc print or the snake print would be really neat to do. And just doing different colors. There was something else that I was thinking just a second ago that you could do with this. Low key, honestly, these are also giving me like turtle vibes or like tortoise shell. Because of the way I did the dots and like, not like the tortoise shell nail design, but like an actual turtle or like tortoise shell. It's kind of giving me that, but I do feel like there's like a lot of possibilities and a lot of different things you could do with this. Like doing the whole blooming gel cat eye situation. I don't know, this was just kind of a fun little experiment to do, see what would happen, see how it would turn out. It does almost look like I just dotted on the dots and I didn't put them in any blooming gel or anything, because like I said, they still kind of have that almost perfect circle look to them. Whereas when you do a blooming gel, like you can, or if you do regular cream polish, you can tell that it, you know, was spread out with blooming gel. Whereas these, I feel like you can't really tell that, and it doesn't really look like that. But yeah, I don't know. This was just kind of fun to play around with and see what would happen with it. Like, that's kind of why I like doing nail art, because you can just experiment, play around, see what works, see what doesn't. And it's always fun to like see how things work out and try and figure out like, oh, how could I do this differently next time, or like what's something I could do with this, like for a nail design or something. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.